I'd like to call the Senate to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Barnett, Barrett, Blackman, Blackwell, Blunt, Boyd, Branning, Bryan, Butler the 36, Butler the 38, Carter, Kaufman, Chazanov, Chisholm, DeBar, Delano, Ing, Fillingane, Frazier, Harkins, Hickman, Hill, Hobson, Horn, Jackson, Johnson, Jordan, Kirby, McCon, McDaniel, McLendon, McMahon, Michelle, Moran, Norwood, Parker, Parks, Polk, Seymour, Simmons of the 12, Simmons of the 13, Sojourner, Spark, Suber, Tate, Thomas, Thompson, Turner Ford, Whaley, Wiggins, Williams, Younger. Mr. President, a quorum is present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Will the senators and guests in the gallery please rise for the invocation given by Pastor Chad Bowen, who is the pastor of Moore Memorial United Methodist Church in Winona, Mississippi. And he is a guest of Senator Lydia Chasnall. Following that, Senator Lydia Chasnall will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Bowen.
Let's bow our heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather in this place today. As we gather in this place of power, O Lord, we ask that you would humble us before you, that we might be about your work, that we might be attentive to the things that you are attentive to, that we, O Lord, might live in a manner that exhibits your righteousness and your justice and your mercy for the world. We ask, Lord, that you would bless the work today with efficiency, with attention to detail, O Lord, and with a sign, O God, that you are present with us and that you, O Lord, are doing your work among your people. We thank you for the things that this body has accomplished over its time together. And we pray, Lord, that as they bring their work for this season to a close, that you would help them do all of it well and in a manner that exhibits your justice to the world. We pray this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Bowen, Senator Chasnall. Now the reading of the journal. Senator Polk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate dispense with the reading of the journal.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the journal. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Message and petitions, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, there are none.
Senator Polk, committee reports.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate dispense with the reading of the committee reports.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of committee reports. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Next, the reading of the titles, bills, and resolutions. Senator, you recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate dispense with the reading of the titles of the bills and resolutions.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the titles of bills and resolutions. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Introduction of guests. Introductions. Senator England, for what purpose, sir?
Mr. President, this is an introduction, but it's an announcement I'd like to make this morning before the jelly runs out in the cloakroom, if I may. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll go to the cloakroom today, you have some jellies that Mr. Van White from Strategic Consulting and Initiatives provided. This jelly was made by his mother, Miss Glenda White, with lemons, satsumas, kumquats, watermelon, pears, apples, and blueberries, all from Jackson County. So be sure to get you some in the cloakroom. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Anyone else? Anyone else? We'll go to the calendar. Chairman Harkins. Chairman Harkins.
I'm going to take I got some stuff I got to do. Take them to nominations. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item number 1 and 2 on today's calendar and take them up in block.
Anyone wish to remove? Seeing none, all in favor in block, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed. Number 1 and 2. Mr. Clerk, please read the titles.
Senate nomination number 114, Patty S. Pat Robertson, Madison, Mississippi, Mississippi Hospital Equipment and Facilities Authority as the at-large member. Remainder of a 4-year term effective January 31st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2022. Senate nomination number 115, Pat Robertson, Madison, Mississippi, Mississippi Hospital Equipment and Facilities Authority as an at-large member, 4-year term effective July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2026.
Ladies and gentlemen, this nomination is the same person for both, I think it's to fill an unexpired term and for a new term. Ms. Pat Robertson appeared before the committee via Zoom from Europe and testified. I think she's no stranger to a lot of members here. She served as executive director of PERS Board and is being nominated for Mississippi Hospital Equipment and Facilities Authority. So there was no derogatory information, and she met the statutory qualifications for the position. So my motion is we do advise and consent on Senate nomination number 114 and 115.
Okay. Questions? Senator Seymour, for what purpose, sir?
A question.
Will you for a question, Senator?
I will.
Senator Seymour, you're recognized for a question.
Mr. Chairman, are you going by the calendar that's on our desk or what's being shown on the screen?
The calendar that I have is screen's yesterday's calendar. I've just been told. Oh, he changed it.
I'm sorry, Senator, you're correct. One moment, please. Okay, we have it up, Senator Seymour. Thank you very much. Senator Harkins, back to you.
If no other questions, I move passage on the morning roll call. We do advise and consent on the morning roll call.
Advising consent has been requested on use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no. Present. Seeing none, the bill passes. Senator Harkins.
Greg?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to go to item number 3 and 4 and take those up in blocks since they're the same person.
Remove anyone? Items 3 and 4 taken up in block. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator, please read the title, Mr. Clerk.
Senate nomination number 125, Gregory K. Greg Haber, Lucedale, Mississippi, Mississippi Hospital Equipment and Facilities Authority as representative of the 2nd Supreme Court District, remained a 4-year term effective January 31st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2022. Vice Brian Stevens. Senate nomination number 126, Gregory K. Greg Haber, Lucedale, Mississippi, Mississippi Hospital Equipment and Facilities Authority as representative of the 2nd Supreme Court District, 4-year term beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2026.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Haber appeared before the committee. His nomination was complies with law. There was a question about something that he had cleared up and had provided proof that it was not an issue. And so my motion is we do advise the consent on the nomination number 125 and 126 for the Mississippi Hospital Equipment and Facilities Authority.
Questions? Seeing none, Senators request utilization of the morning roll call. Anyone object to procedure? Court is voting no. Present. Present. DeBar. Anyone else? Anyone else? Thank you. Confirmed. To you, Senator Harkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 5, Senate nomination number 139, and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 139, Merrill Glenn Flowers, South Haven, Mississippi, Mississippi Business Finance Corporation, term effective immediately and ended June 1st, 2027.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Merle Flowers appeared before the committee the other day. His nomination complied with statutory requirements. There was no derogatory information in his background. This is an appointment for the Mississippi Business Finance Corporation. And if there are no questions, I move adoption or passage of, or do advise the consent, on the morning roll call.
Questions on the bill? Senator, somebody's at Senator, all right, Senator DeBar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Question?
Are you here for a question, Senator Harkins?
I do.
Senator
This
DeBar, you
is-
recognize.
This is a former senator?
Yes.
Merle Flowers?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I've never met this senator, but I've heard some stories about this gentleman. And I was just wondering, you probably heard those same stories or been around those. Does that have any effect on his nomination, or was there any information about that came up?
His peer report came back with no derogatory information, and his nomination complies with all applicable state law.
Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Senator Blunt, for what purpose, sir?
Question?
For you for a question, Senator?
I do.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chairman, is Merle Glenn Flowers, is that the same as Merlot Flowers? Is that the same person?
I believe that is.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Butler, for what purpose, sir?
Question, Mr. President.
For you for a question, Senator?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks. I work with some of the Merle Flowers, and I have some stories under the bar when you get time. Thank you.
All right. Senator Hill, for what purpose you seek recognition?
I like to speak.
Speak on the bill. Thank you. Anyone, any other questions? Any other questions? Senator Hill, you're recognized to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When we look at these nominations, we look at peer reports and we look at debts, lawsuits, convictions, and things like that. But we don't always look at ethical things. And sometimes there's ethical considerations with some of these nominations. And I'm certainly not going to tell anybody how to vote, but I can tell you that there are some female House members that are dear friends of mine that were targeted, viciously and maliciously targeted, by a PAC, of which the current nominee was the treasurer. And for that reason, I will not vote to do advise and consent. Basically, because I just can't do it.
Thank you, Senator Hill. Anyone else you recognize to close? Senator Harkins?
If no further questions or comments, I move we do advise and consent on the morning roll call. On the Senate nomination number 139.
Advise and consent has been requested on the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no. Hill? Anyone else? Anyone else? Presence? Frazier? Present. Anyone else? Seeing none, individual, Mr. Flowers is confirmed. Number 6, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to that item and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Consider nomination number 140, Jenny Simmons, Lake Mississippi, Mississippi Business Finance Corporation, term effective immediately and ending June 1st, 2027.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Simmons appeared before the committee for Mississippi Business Finance Corporation. Her appointment met all applicable law, and there was no derogatory information in her background. So my motion is we do advise and consent on Senate nomination number 140.
Questions? Seeing none, advise and consent has been requested by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Court is voting no. Present. Seeing none, confirmed. Senator, you're
I'd like to go to
recognized.
item 7, Senate nomination number 141, and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 141, David Tipton, Grenada, Mississippi, Mississippi Business Finance Corporation, term effective immediately and ending June 1st, 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tipton appeared before the committee. His nomination complies with state law. There was no derogatory information in his background, and my motions, we do advise and consent on the morning roll call on Senate nomination number 141.
Questions? Questions? I'm not surprised there was no derogatory information on the head of the Pentecostal church. So, use of the morning roll call been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Court is voting no. Present. Seeing none, Brother Tipton is unanimously confirmed by the Senate. Number 8, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 8, Senate nomination number 157, have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 157, Joe E. Cloyd, Ocean Springs, Mississippi, Mississippi Business Finance Corporation, remainder of vacant term effective immediately and ending June 30th, 2021.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cloyd appeared before the committee. His nomination complied with statute, and his peer report was clean. My motion is we do advise and consent on the nomination number 157 for Mr. Joe Cloyd for the Mississippi Business Finance Corporation.
Questions? Seeing none, Senators requested use of the morning roll call. Object to the procedure. Voted is no. Present. Seeing none, we go to 9, sir.
I'd like to go to item 9, Senate nomination number 158, and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 158, Joe E. Cloyd, Ocean Springs, Mississippi, Mississippi Business Finance Corporation, 6-year term effective July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2027.
My apologies, I didn't realize there were two of them. Same person, same results. Motion, we do advise the consent on Senate nomination number 158.
Questions? Seeing none, Senators' use of the morning roll call has been requested. Anyone object to procedure? Court is voting no. Present. Mr. Cloyd is confirmed by the Senate. Number 10, Senator.
I'd like to go to item 10, Senate nomination number 113, and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 113, Kent Gerard Nicard, Pass Christian, Mississippi, Mississippi Hospital Equipment and Facilities Authority with experience in hospital management and finance, remainder of a 4-year term, effective January 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2025, base Darrell Wildman.
I think that's Nico, Mr. Clerk. Senator, you're
Mr. Nico came before the committee. His nomination met statutory requirements, and there was no derogatory information in his peer report. My motion is we do advise the consent on Senate nomination number 113 for Mr. Kent Nico.
Any questions? Questions? Seeing none. Senators request the use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Court is voting no. Present. Seeing none, Mr. Nico is confirmed by the Mississippi Senate. Senator Kirby. We're on 11, Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to pass and retain items 11 to 12 and go to item number 13 and ask that the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Resolution number 62, commend Hancock High School Lady Hawks girls bowling team for 3 consecutive state championships.
Make your usual motion, Mr.
Senator
President.
makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator Kirby.
Thank you, Mr. President. This, as you can see, commending Hancock High School Lady Hawks girls bowling team for 3 consecutive state championships. If no other questions, I ask for use of the morning roll call. Final pass.
Seeing no questions, use of the morning roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as no. Present. Seeing none. Senator Kirby. Senator Kirby. Thank you, Senator. Senator McMahon. Senator, all right, we'll go to motions to reconsider. Number 15. Senator Harkins. One moment, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 17 and have the title read.
We had 14, 15, and 16, so 14 is
sorry.
passed, 15 and 16 are passed too, sir?
Skip 15 and 16.
Retain their place on the
Retain
calendar.
their place
Number
and go to item 17.
Number 17.
Oh, you want, I'm sorry.
I
thought
didn't
you
have one
skipped it.
before. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Barr, number 15. I apologize, sir. I thought that was Senator Harkins' bill. Senator, you're recognized. Number 15 or 16? Number 16, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Call up item 16, have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 881, university-based programs of education for children with developmental disabilities revise certain provisions.
Thank you, Mr. President. My motion is to table the motion to reconsider.
Table the motion to reconsider. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator. 17. Now we're on Senator Harkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 17 and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 1685, Pregnancy Resource Act, create.
Motion is we table the motion to reconsider.
Motion to table the motion to reconsider. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed. Number 18, Senator. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just a motion. Okay. All right, Senator Chasnow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 18, call it up and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill Number 453, Mississippi Tourism Recovery Fund Round 2 and Mississippi Destination Development Fund create.
The motion is that we do table the motion to reconsider.
Motion to table. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator. Chairman Hobson has appropriations, and those go to 112 on page 15, Senate. So they will pass and retain their place upon the calendar. And we will go to page 15, Senate, and we will look at, starting on 113, it'll be Chairman Harkins. Okay, we're gonna go to I'll leave this up if you need it.
I'd like to go to item 113 and have the title read.
Please read the title.
House Bill Number 446, Distinctive Motor Vehicle License Tag, authorized for various purposes.
Senator Harkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Omnibus Tag Bill. It is, I think, you got it on the screen? He's putting the list up on the screen. If you would like a copy, I think they've made a couple of copies. I'll read through them real quick. These are the bills that are being included in the tag bill this year. Mississippi Main Street Association, Gaucher Athletics, South Jones Touchdown Club, Starkville Academy Athletics, Girl Scouts of Greater Mississippi, Pro-Life Billboard Initiative, the Lung Cancer Awareness, Mississippi Association of Nurse Practitioners, City Historical Foundation, St. Stanislaus College in Bay St. Louis, Van Cleve, Live Oak, Choctaw, Morton High School, Forest Municipal School District, Lake High School, Scott Central Attendance Center, Sebastopol Attendance Center, East Rankin Academy, Houston High School, Magnolia Heights School, Regent School of Oxford, the Garden Clubs of Mississippi, Inc., Baptist Health Foundation, Greene County Wildcats, Mississippi Disc Golf. The bill reauthorizes the issuance of distinctive motor license tags that display the emblem of the universities located in other states by extending time within which to require the number of tags that must be pre-sold before they can be issued. The bill also reauthorizes the issuance of the following distinctive motor vehicle tags by extending the time in which it was required for the number of license tags that must be pre-sold before they may be issued to the supporters of the Mine Center, the University of Mississippi Medical Center, Callaway High School, Jim Hill High School, Meridian High School, Children's Advocacy Centers of Mississippi, the Memphis Grizzlies professional basketball team, Mississippi Book Festival. The bill also provides for the name and emblem of each branch of the United States Armed Forces to be on the distinctive motor vehicle license tag for disabled veterans. Revise the distribution of fees collected from the issuance of breast cancer awareness distinctive motor vehicle license tag. It amends the section of law that authorizes the issuance of distinctive motor vehicle license tag to supporters of the Mississippi Law Enforcement Officers Association to authorize the issuance of distinctive motorcycle license tags to such persons. Authorizes the issuance of distinctive motor vehicle license tags to persons who are honorably discharged female veterans of the United States Armed Forces identifying themselves as female veterans. Revises the type of evidence that persons may present when applying for distinctive motor vehicle or motorcycle license plate or tag identifying the person as a veteran. Amends the section of law that authorizes the issuance of distinctive motor vehicle license tags to members of certain former members of the legislature to authorize the issuance of a replica tag of the license tag to such persons. It also amends the section of law that authorizes personalized motor vehicle tags to provide that an alternative to personalized tag being the same color as a regular license tag, a person may choose to personalize a tag with a black background and white pinstripe border with Mississippi printed at the top and the name of the county printed at the bottom. The bill describes an additional fee for the issuance of such blackout tag, and it provided for the distribution of the additional fee to the death benefit fund for police officers. So that is a description of what the omnibus car tag bill is this year. If there are no questions, I move adoption of the conference report.
Are there any questions? Seeing no questions. Oh, we do have a question. Senator Norwood, do you yield Senator Norwood for a question?
I certainly do.
Senator
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Harkin. Would you help me again on that? You said the black background.
It's called a blackout tag, and basically it's a black license tag with white letters, white pinstripe, white Mississippi written across the top and the county in the bottom. And it's an additional fee that, that fee will be going to the death benefit for police officers that are shot. I believe Laney will show you a picture of one right there.
Okay. Thanks. That was my concern, just that it wouldn't affect law enforcement, but I'm sure they wouldn't recommend it if it was. Thank you.
It's pretty, if Senator Delano will bring it up here, we can put it on the screen. I think you'll see it's a pretty good looking tag, and it's a little bit more of a fee than a normal tag, and what that's going to do is going to help fund the death benefit fund for officers.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the screen.
Any further questions? Or, I'm sorry, so no, I thought you were finished.
Now, the acronym, I mean, do they have is a meaning behind that, or is just?
It's a black tag that has the white letters. That's the.
And you put
it's a vanity tag, basically.
And you put whatever you want on there. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Tim.
Yes, sir.
All right. Seeing no further questions, Senator requests use the morning roll call for final passage of the conference report. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by use of the morning roll call as voting aye. The conference report is adopted. Senator Harkins.
I'd like to skip item 14, have it retain its place on the calendar, go to item 115, House Bill 1163, and have the title read.
Please read the title.
House Bill number 1163, sales tax, revised definition of installation charges to exclude labor services in connection with residential roofing.
Senator Harkins.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what started out as kind of a residential roofing has morphed into more construction. I think in the past 2-3 years, we've had several discussions about out-of-state contractors coming in the state, not paying the same taxes that our local contractors are having to pay, and kind of working at a slight advantage over our local folks. And so what we've tried to do over the last couple of years is come up with a plan to basically help create some accountability. For instance, if I went to Louisiana to go do work, I would literally have to go register at the Secretary of State's office in order to get a tax ID number from the state of Louisiana, and then I would have to take that registration from the Secretary of State's office, the tax ID number I got from the Department of Revenue in Louisiana, and then go to the Contractors Board to get a license in order to get a permit in any municipality or area in Louisiana. So they have a way of kind of tracking you and making sure that you're paying all applicable state taxes. What this bill does is it requires every county and city in the state as a means of, whether you permit or not, you don't have to, some places don't send out inspectors to inspect, but you at least have to issue a permit. And on that permit, it starts on line 136. It says that regardless of whether a county adopts or has adopted codes set forth in this section, each and every county in this state shall require permitting as a condition to construction within an unincorporated areas of the county, and such permits shall contain on their face in conspicuous print the contractor's MPC certificate, which is, if it's a commercial job, you get an MPC certificate, or the employer's, or excuse me, or the contractor's EIN number and employment identification number, tax ID number. And that will be required of the permit. You can also provide a contractor's W-9 or a copy of the MPC certificate to them. And that's for issuance of a permit. Same thing with the municipalities. They would do the same thing. And on line 203, it talks about the municipality doing the same thing as adopting, where they have to have that information on a permit. If you flip over to line 259, it also has I guess a definition of construction manager. So in Mississippi, you can build your own house without being a, quote, residential licensed builder. You can build, right now in statutes, two houses a year. But if you want to build your own house, you can do so. And so what some people are doing is construction managers or residential contractors would say, look, you pull the permit and I'll just manage the construction for you. Well, what that does is that basically puts you on the hook for liability for your house. So if I build a house and I sell it to you, I have an implied warranty on the foundation for 6 years. I also have an implied warranty on the house for a year. If you have a construction manager do it for you, you're taking 100% of the responsibility, and I don't think people realize that. So what this does is identifies construction manager in statute. A construction manager means any person or entity other than a residential builder, remodeler, or owner who has a contract or agreement with the owner of a property for residential construction or residential improvement, no matter if that owner himself is a general contractor or holder of a building permit. So it's identifying what a construction manager is, and it's also identifies what a residential solar contractor is, meaning a person or entity who installs, modifies, or maintains, repairs thermal, photovoltaic, solar energy systems on a house. And that's kind of important because the next section talks about licensing. So there's what's considered life safety trades. If you can do something that would blow up a house, electrician, heating, cooling, mechanical, anything that's where there can be some danger to your house, it's saying that these people should be licensed in the state of Mississippi to do construction work. On line 276, it talks about these entities shall be licensed. And currently, you already have to have a license to be a residential contractor. A person or entities acting in the capacity as a residential builder. Persons or entities acting in the capacity of a residential remodeler. And it says persons or entities acting in the capacity as a construction manager through a contract or agreement with the owner of the property being improved or constructed upon. And then any subcontractor, any tier, performing the following work within the following trade on any residential construction, residential improvement project, no matter the dollar amount of the construction or improvements, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, or heating, ventilation, air conditioning. And person or entities acting in the capacity as a residential solar contractor. So any of these things that you're hooking up electrical, you're doing gas, you're doing something that's going to require you that could potentially have a devastating impact on a home, you need to be licensed in the state of Mississippi. And so it says as a prerequisite to get a license, they can require you to have liability insurance. They may require you to have liability insurance if you have proof of workers' compensation, if it's required by applicable law. Sometimes it's not. And the board may also require liability insurance to be licensed under the chapter. So when I get a residential construction license, I have to submit proof of liability insurance as a prerequisite to get a contractor's license. So that's what that section does. And it also addresses the number of houses you can build within a year. Right now, it's saying if you want to build your own house, you can do so. But if you're building more than one house in 1 year, you're probably doing it to sell for a profit. And what it does is it just basically takes it down to where you can build one house a year under the state law. And that is starts on around line 432. A person specified in subsection 1B or C shall not make more than one application for permit to construct a single residence, or shall not construct more than one single residence within a period of 1 year. So it's saying if you want to build your own house, that's fine, but there'd really be no reason to build two in 1 year. So that's what the bill does. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Senator, excuse me, Senator Jordan, do you have a question?
Yes.
You yield Senator Jordan for a question.
I do.
Senator Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will this stop those persons who, after we have a disaster of any type, certainly tornadoes, from coming in, fly by night, do some work and half do it and gone, and we don't know who they are in many instances?
I don't think there's anything you can put in statute to prevent people coming in. What we're trying to do is to provide some boundaries that at least they're going to be registered with the state. They're going to have a proof of liability insurance, which is to protect you. But ultimately, people can come in here and do shoddy work. There's nothing you can do to prevent that.
No, I mean, if by statute, what this bill does, it allows them to, they must have a license. So
Correct.
The person who having them to do the work must require a license from them. That's what I'm trying to get to.
To do those life safety trades like electrical, heating, cooling, mechanical, I think things that could potentially burn your house down or blow your house up. It's kind of the way it's been phrased. They would be required to have a license, yes.
All persons that you allow to contract with your house,
Not all. You don't need to have a tile man be licensed. I think it's more.
no, I'm talking about those individuals who need those services. That they may ask the person who does the service for them. Many times they come in, fly by night and do service and gone because there's such a great need for it in terms of a disaster. And they don't do it right and you don't know who they are. They come in from other states. This bill will not allow that.
There's nothing you can do to allow a shady person that comes in. I mean, you can have a guy that has a license and he does bad work, or he or she does bad work. It doesn't prevent that from happening. But what we're saying is that you're going to have to at least go through you're going to have to at least be licensed through the state of Mississippi. And in order to get a license, you have to have liability insurance. That's current statute right now for residential contractors and remodelers. So it's just saying that if you're going to be doing if you're going to take a permit to do a reconstruction on a house that's damaged, and you're going to be doing electrical and gas and HVAC work, that the contractor taking the permit is going to have to be licensed in the state of Mississippi.
So if you're doing it work, so you can ask them, are you licensed to do that? And they must present a license to you or show you a license.
They should. I mean, if I was a homeowner and I was going to hire somebody to come do work on my house, I would ask to make sure they're a licensed contractor in the state. And if they're a licensed contractor, that means they have a general liability policy. At least they have general liability insurance.
Yes, sir.
But if you hire somebody to come do work on your house and they don't have workers' comp and they fall and hurt themselves on your house, you could be liable for it. So, I mean, that's just how far you're willing to go to make sure somebody is covered to protect you whenever you do work on your house.
That's what I'm trying to get at. I want people who have those services be protected from scavengers who may come in and do certain things and then go on to another state. I know we have had that many times. We have had disasters. People come in right after a tornado and people are desperately because it's raining on them. They get somebody to come in and then they're from another state and they're gone and they've half done the work. That's what I thought this bill would cover. But I hope it does.
It helps, yes.
It does? Okay. It helps to a point.
Yes, sir.
By requiring them to have a license, a Mississippi license, would that be a state license?
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks, sir.
Okay, next, Senator Seymour, do you have a question?
Yes, Mr. President.
You yield, Senator Seymour.
I do.
Senator
Mr. Chairman, I understand the commercial for profit end of this, but as a homeowner or landowner, and I'm wanting to build a structure or do any kind of work, can I still do labor for hire without having, I understand the liabilities and all involved that I have to acquire, but can I still do that without, does this bill affect it in any way?
If you're going to construct a new building that you're going to have electrical and heating and all that in it, you'd still have to get a permit.
Right.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes, you can get it. You can get one building a year as a homeowner. You can build a house. If you're going to do a barn or something on your property, I don't think that would constitute as a home. As
But
a residential unit.
if I go and purchase my materials and I hire an electrician,
He'll be licensed under this law. Yes, because electricians.
he'll have to have all the permit and certification.
He'll just have to have a license through the state.
So there's no such thing as just labor for hire no more.
There is, but if you are, depending on what you're doing, I mean, I think if it's routine maintenance, no. Maintenance on something is not construction of a dwelling, a home, or remodeling.
Well, shouldn't it be my prerogative how much risk I'm willing to take to save money?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Senator Sojourner for questions.
Question, Mr. President.
Thank you. Do you yield to Senator Sojourner? You yield Senator Sojourner for a question?
Yeah.
Senator Sojourner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I think we both would agree that building or buying a home is incredibly expensive.
Correct.
And is not possible for a lot of people in Mississippi. So if we had a dad or a granddad who was a really good jack of all trades and carpenter, and he built a new home for him and his wife in the early part of the year, then if he came back at the end of the year to build a home for a grandson maybe, he would be breaking the law under this bill.
No, his grandson could pull a permit. His grandson could build a house for himself. And he can hire his granddad to be the construction manager. Or he
Okay,
can
but
have
he
somebody
couldn't-
build a house.
But if he was going to build the second home in his name because his grandson was just starting out and maybe couldn't afford to take on that on his own, he could not build that home
I
without.
don't think who your mortgage is depends on who the construction permit. If it's going to be the grandson's name, the grandson can take the permit out in his name. As long as he trusts his grandfather's not going to
Right,
mess
but
him
if the
over.
second home, the grandfather was also going to mortgage it and finance it for him, you're saying that then the permit would have to be pulled in that name?
I think the permit could be pulled in the grandson's name because he's the one that's actually living there and he's probably going to be the one filing homestead. I would assume he's the one living there. It's his home. He can pull the permit. Whether his grandfather pays for it or whether his grandfather builds it, I think I don't think it's a problem. I think I think the language in here.
While you're looking,
Yeah.
too, you mentioned homestead exemption. What if this home for the grandson was actually homesteaded in the grandfather's name? Does that create a problem?
Well, if the grandfather's not going to homestead his other house, I guess it doesn't.
Okay.
I mean, I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that right now in current law, you already have to have a license to build a home. You can build one house yourself and you assume all the risk and all the liabilities. That doesn't prevent you from doing that. If the grandson wants to build a house, he can go take a permit out. And if the grandfather wants to mortgage for him, if he wants to sign on the note or if he wants to pay cash for it, I don't believe personally that has any bearing on what this
Okay.
does. I think it allows them to do that.
Thank you. Real quick, to Senator Seymour's point, you mentioned a barn. I guess a barn-dominium would fall under a residential home, certainly. Is that addressed in the bill?
No, it doesn't, but I think if it says I think there is language in here that talks about, let me see, if you'll give me 1 second. It says that in here it talks about provided the person is not building the residence for sale, profit, or remuneration, they can build one a year. And so to me, if they're going to build a barn dominium, that's like if they have a house and they want to build a barn dominium out back, they've already obviously lived in their house, so that would not impact them on building a barn dominium. They would be able to go and do whatever they want to do because it's one a year.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Michelle.
Please be recognized to introduce a group that's about to leave the gallery.
You're recognized, Senator Michelle.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my pleasure to welcome in the North and West galleries a group of students from Span Elementary School. They're here with Ms. Lori Torrey, who's the principal, and teachers, Ms. Mangum, Ms. Gerard, and Mr. Fahey. Would y'all please join me in welcoming Span Elementary School to our Senate chamber?
Welcome to your Senate. Thank you, Senator Michelle. Okay,
Stella.
next, Senator Hickman.
Introduction out of order, Mr. President.
You're recognized, Senator.
Mr. President, we have joining with us in the West Gallery, and on behalf of myself and Senator Nicole Boyd, we have my law school writing professor, Ms. Molly Ferguson, who looks very much so younger than I do, and she's visiting with her mom, Diane, and her son, Ethan. Mississippi Senate, would you please make them feel welcome at this time?
Welcome to your Senate. Okay, Senator McCond.
Thank you, Mr. President, for a question.
You yield, Senator McCond, for a question. You're recognized, Senator.
It's going to be bad coming into Rankin County and then already going against my other senator. Line 572 comes into play as far as a mandate on counties, it appears to me. It appears to me that there is a requirement now that every county set up a permitting process which would potentially require another office, another staff in a county. Is that how I read that?
I don't know how much it requires a whole lot other than just filling out a permit, a piece of paper that recognizes that they are licensed if they're building a house, or they have an MPC number, or that they have an EIN number. And what that's trying to do, we've had problems with our home contractors in our state of Mississippi have complained about out-of-state contractors coming in and undercutting them because they're not paying sales tax, they're not remitting sales tax on jobs. And so what we're saying is, like, look, if you want to come in the state and work, that's fine. If there's work to be done, people need stuff done, that's fine. But they're undercutting the contractors in the state of Mississippi that are not paying the same taxes that our contractors here in the state are, that they're getting checked on. And so what it's doing is just saying, look, if you're going to come in here, that's fine. Like I gave the example of going to Louisiana. In order to do work in Louisiana, I had to fill out application after application, get a Department of Revenue number in Louisiana, and submit it on the permit when I go and do a job in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, or in some parish, or wherever outside of Baton Rouge. So there's a way for accountability of these out-of-state contractors that are not paying tax like your local contractors are.
Well, and I understand the intent being the out-of-state contractors coming in here. I have
And there
some
may be in-state
concerns.
contractors that are not doing it too. But
Well,
it's,
and I have no doubt there probably are. Looking at this bill and seeing this section, and the next section also says any municipality that does not have, or has not adopted the codes, whether they've adopted the codes or not, shall require permitting. And now we're saying each county will have to require permitting. My concern is that we've expanded now, we're putting another mandate upon counties and municipalities across the state. So,
well,
thank you.
I understand that concern, and I think it's not requiring them, if they don't have an inspection process, it doesn't require them to go start doing anything different. But if you're going to do a permit, you just have to go in and submit that information to the county. Just on a sheet of paper as a permit slip. I don't think that's going to require a whole lot of extra work. Thank you.
Senator Barrett, do you have a question?
I do. Thank you, Mr. President.
Do you yield, Senator Barrett?
I do.
Senator Barrett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Does this bill, does it add any new tax to current law? No new tax?
No new tax.
Thank you.
Okay, Senator Hill, do you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Do you yield, Senator Hill, for a question?
I do.
One of my questions and concerns is, sometimes families help families build houses, sometimes you're building a habitat house or whatever, and you may have a certain skill. You may be able to roof a house, but you may not do that every day. So what I'm looking here is that, if one of my cousins who, can pretty much do anything, has a regular job that they go to, which is not a roofing job, but if they have a relative that is building a house and they say, hey, can you come roof my house? Now that person is going to have to go through a license process and a permit process to go and roof that person's house to help them out. Is that right?
You don't have to be licensed as a roofer. If you're going to do remodeling, all you're having to do is go fill out a permit that you're doing the job. It doesn't require a roofer to go get licensed. The only people that are required to have a license are electrical, plumbing, mechanical, or heating and ventilation, life safety, that could either burn a house down or blow a house up if they're not licensed and doing the work properly. And I think it's not just the house that you may be trying to get in and help a friend, it's the family that buys that house after you move and have some expectation that people did it right and they just didn't throw it together. And
So I guess my question is, say, somebody wants to help a friend or a family member build a house, and, they want to go roof that house for that friend or family member. What do they have to do to be able to go and buy the materials and roof the house?
I would say nothing, because if you're going to build a house, you're already required to have a license. By a residential contractor has to have a residential builder has to have a license to build a house in the state of Mississippi. That's what it says, but if the homeowner's going to do it, and the homeowner goes and pulls a permit, which they can hire whoever they want to roof a house.
But if they have a contractor and they say, hey, look, my cousin is willing to come roof this house for nothing,
They can do it. Yeah.
how can they?
Because the residential contractor they hired is licensed. And a roofer under this section is not required to have a license. They can hire whoever they want to. It's just they're assuming the risk.
But they would have to have a sales tax ID, an EIN number, and all that.
The contractor that pulled the permit would do it, or the homeowner. The homeowner can pull a permit.
So this does nothing for roofers?
There's nothing in here on, that's what I'm saying, the title of the bill started out as something different, but it's more.
But we're requiring a permit in all these cities and counties for these things like AC and all that we never did before.
If you're going to build a new house, what we're saying is any of the life safety, if you're building a home, either you as the homeowner can go pull a permit yourself, and then it's up to you to hire somebody to come put your air conditioning in, and those air conditioning, electrical, mechanical, heating companies are licensed in Mississippi already. And what we're saying is that they have to be licensed in order to do work on new construction or construction remodeling to where they're licensed. I mean, it doesn't prevent you. I think what you're talking about is like if you had a friend that had a house, if they hired a contractor or they pulled the permit themselves, they're taking the responsibility. Either that
I understand, but I guess my point is, you know, my husband was a licensed electrician. He hadn't wired houses in a long time. He's good at it and he knows what he's doing. But if I had a relative that had a contractor building them a house and my husband said, I'll wire that house for nothing, he could not go work under that contractor unless he went back to the state of Mississippi and renewed his license to work under that contractor, correct?
I would submit that if he is a electrical person, he would have to have a license, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Senator Barrett, do you have another question? Your light's on.
Barnett.
Okay.
That's Barnett.
Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Barnett. Sounds too much alike. Looks too much alike. Senator Barnett, sorry. You guys just look so much alike, I get you confused. Senator Barnett, do you have a question? Yeah, I have a question, Senator Barnett. You yield, Senator.
I yield.
Senator Barnett.
Thank you. Senator Harkins, I appreciate your hard work on this, but wouldn't you say that for the first time in many years that this is a bill that both protect our businesses and our homeowners?
Well, I think it's trying to provide some accountability to folks, whether you say it's protecting our local contractors, I think it's just the requirement of the law is already there for people to submit, sales tax on certain jobs, and that's already in statute. We're not changing that. I think you would argue that some people are going around that and undercutting our folks if there are disasters and people flock into our state from all over the country to do work. I think they're undercutting our contractors. Yes, that happens. But I think it's also about, a home. You may live in a home for an infinite period of time, but there may be another family that follows you up. And I guess we're establishing a certain level of safety that is an expectation that it's being done properly. If a trade can blow a house up or burn a house down, you probably want to make sure that it's done right. And I think that's, kind of where we are in this bill.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate your hard work on this. Like I said, I'm proud that we are looking to keep Mississippi businesses, to protect them as best we can, and to have those who are coming in from out of state to live up to the same standards that we require of our own people, and to also protect the homeowners who may fall victim to some of these out-of-state people. So thank you for your work on this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Barnett. Okay, I don't see any further questions. You move
adoption of the conference report by the morning roll call.
Senator Harkins moves for adoption of the conference report by use of morning roll call. Does anyone object to this procedure? Does anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Yeah, we do. Let's see. We'll start over here. Senator Chisholm, Senator Branning, Senator Sojourner, Senator DeBar, Senator Hill, Senator McCon. Yeah, I'm letting her catch up. Senator Suber, Senator Tate, and Senator Seymour, and Senator McDaniel. Anyone else? Senator Whaley? Senator Whaley is present, and Moran is present, and Senator Blackwell as present. Senator Michelle is present. Senator Fillingham, present. Anyone else? I'm sorry. Senator Johnson is present. Senator Boyd is present. Anyone else? Or seeing no others, Mr. Clerk, if you would please read off the no votes and present votes.
Voting no, Hill, Chisholm, Branning, Sojourner, DeBar, McCon, Tate, Suber, Seymour, and McDaniel. Voting present, Whaley, Moran, Blackwell, Michelle, Fillingham, Johnson, and Boyd.
While we're waiting on the vote count, for what purpose, Senator McMahon?
To the vote, I vote aye. Somebody said, I heard my name called, but I voted aye.
Make sure Senator McMahon is recorded as voting aye. Okay, with 10 noes and 7 present, the bill is passed. Now, Senator Harkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to skip item 116 and 117, have them retain their place on the calendar.
Pass and retain items 116 and 117. Now, Senator McMahon.
I'd like to call up item 118, ask the title be read.
Please read the title.
House Bill number 1747, City of Clinton, authorize a tax on restaurants to promote tourism, parks, and recreation.
I'd like to be recognized to explain the conference report.
You're recognized to explain.
What we have here is a City of Clinton conference report. It only deals with the City of Clinton. It had some other language in there at one time. This is a 2% sales tax for restaurants. Also allows the people to vote, has a special referendum in it. And has a repeal date of July 1st of 2026. It's a clean bill now, and it's our standard language for special referendums. If there aren't any questions, I move for adoption of the conference report on the morning roll call.
We do have a question. Senator Sojourner, do you have a question?
Question, Mr. President.
You yield, Senator Sojourner.
I do.
Senator Sojourner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is what you were referencing. So previously, there was language in the bill about South Haven, and that's been removed. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Senator McMahon.
My motion is that we adopt the conference report on the morning roll call.
Senator McMahon moves that we adopt the conference report by use of morning roll call. Does anyone object to this procedure? Does anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present. Senator Sojourner, you voted no. I'm sorry. Anyone else? McDaniel and Senator Chisholm. Anyone else? Senator Hill as present. Anyone else? All right. Please record those as voting no are present. All others as voting aye by the use of morning roll call.
Mr. President, this will be I believe this is the final action of the 2022 session for local and private. I want to thank the members of the committee for their hard work. I also would like to recognize Ian Jones, counsel, and also ask Deborah Stamps to stand. Deborah's new with the Senate. This is her first year. Ms. Stamps, thank you for your work. I appreciate you taking phone calls at night, after hours, and on the weekends, and your flexibility and support of this committee. Thank you so much. I'd like to also thank Senator Parker for his guidance this year, and Senator Hobson for your help on some things this year. I want to thank Andrew Yates for his communications. I also want to thank the Lieutenant Governor for allowing me to serve in this capacity and for allowing me a free hand to make decisions what's best for the members of this body. I do appreciate the opportunity to serve, and I'm glad that we were able to satisfy just about everybody's requests this year for local and private. Thank you so much. I yield the mic.
Thank you, Senator. All right, we'll go to item 119, Senator Hobson.
Sadly, this will not be my last bill for the session. I ask that we skip items 119 through 125 and go to item 126 on today's calendar and have the title read.
119, you pass and retain 119 through 126. And go to item 125, Senator? 126, did you say? Which one?
126, yes, sir.
126, okay. All right, Senator Hobson.
I ask that the title be read.
Please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2120, Department of Public Safety, revised salaries of officers.
Senator Hobson.
I move adoption of the conference report and ask to be recognized to explain.
You're recognized to explain.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the revision of the salaries to the troopers and other officers of MBI and MBN. It does contain some language that references pay increases for the CTED, the Commercial Transportation Enforcement Division officers, and Capitol Police, and I'll kind of walk you through what's done. You'll remember earlier in the session we passed the measure that would bring forward the pay raise that was included. There was a very minor pay bump last year, but we needed to put it in the code section, so we did that. So there's two parts to the bill. One is making sure that we got the code section updated for the term that we're currently in, the fiscal year we're currently in for the officers. And then we've increased the pay of the officers, and we have a scale of pay, and it depends on what rank you are, but beginning troopers for the state will move from $40,314 to $46,950. And with the Huggins Act, they will actually, with their total actual compensation, will be just over $50,000. So this is a significant pay bump for our state troopers and MBI and MBN. There are a couple other provisions in the bill that I want to bring to your attention. One is that we've got language. One of the concerns the commissioner had was that we have some of the higher ranking officers that may be the sworn officers that don't fall into their classifications. This would give the commissioner the authority and the ability to slot them where they're supposed to be, and that's based on SPB standards. It's not that he can go out and say, oh yeah, I want to move this person to this spot. This is based on the fact this qualifies under our SPB standards as to where they should be. The other part of the bill too that's in here is the very end of the bill. We included language that allows the commissioner, again based on SPB, it's got to be approved by SPB, to set the salaries for the CTED and for the other Capitol Police officers that I referenced. That's an explanation of the conference report, and I'll be happy to yield for any questions, Mr. President.
Senator McMahon, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do.
You yield to Senator McMahon for a question. Senator McMahon.
Chairman Hobson, what are we trying to do as far as what is the amount that we're going to increase the troopers? Is there a basic amount?
Well, the first year trooper, as I mentioned a while ago, would go up to starting trooper, less than 4 years, will be just over $50,000. Now, it goes, their ranks, you can have the trooper first class, that'll be almost about close.
What's it currently? What's that number? What's the difference?
The current number without the Huggins Act. Now, keep in mind, they get paid for the additional work that they do in hours. So let me make sure we are real clear about this. It's $40,314. It's going to $46,950. So you're talking about almost a $7,000 pay increase. But when you add in the Huggins Act, it ends up being a $7,810 increase. And that's first year trooper. Now, let me just be real clear about this too. As you go down the list, you got trooper first class, sergeant, staff sergeant, master sergeant, lieutenant, captain, major, lieutenant, colonel, and colonel, all the way down the ranks. So their salaries don't all move that same amount. You know, you could ask me a category and I can tell you what the salary difference is. But that's the base first 4 years troopers increase.
Okay, thank you so much for supporting law enforcement. Appreciate your work. Thank you.
Thank you all for supporting law enforcement. Okay. I do have at the appropriate time a request for unanimous consent to a change, Mr. President.
You recognize?
Thank you. If you look on line 212 of the conference report, there was a mistaken number put in. It says 119, this is the colonel, 119,800. It should be 119,500.
Okay.
So there was a 8 plugged in where there should be a 5, and I would request at this time unanimous consent to make that typographical change.
Let's vote on the technical change. Yes, all in favor of the technical change, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That's adopted. Senator?
Now, if there are no further questions, I move adoption of the conference report by use of the morning roll call.
Senator Hobson requests use of or moves for adoption of the morning roll call. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by the use of the morning roll call as voting aye. The conference report is adopted. Senator Hobson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I asked skip and retain 127 through 129.
We'll pass and retain 127 through 129. Senator Michelle. Pass and retain. And Senator Parker. Oh, yeah. Senator Sparks. Sorry, I didn't see your button.
Thank you, Mr. President. With unanimous consent, I'd like to be added as co-author to the previous bill. I believe it's 2120.
Okay. I'm trying to think of, since it's almost everyone, it would be a lot easier.
Thought I'd stimulate that, though.
If they would just be so kind as to circle and bring it up to the front desk on the calendar. Okay. No objection. Okay. Senator Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 131, House Bill 1006, and have the title read.
Okay. Before we do that, Senator Jordan had punched his button just before you started talking, I think. Senator Jordan, you wish to be recognized? Okay, just circle it if you would, please, and bring it up front. Okay, you're going to item 131, Senator Parker?
Yes, Mr. President.
Wait a minute.
Called up, have the title read.
Again, before we read the title, Senator Fillingane, for what purpose?
Introduction, Mr. President.
You recognize for introduction.
Thank you. To the right of the chamber, we have with us Governor Tate Reeves. We want to make him welcome.
Welcome, Governor. Welcome home. All right, now if you would read the title on 131, House Bill number 1006.
House Bill number 1006, Community and Junior College Nursing Supplemental Funding Program established.
Senator Parker.
Move adoption of the conference report. Be recognized to explain.
You're recognized to explain.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is, I believe, third or fourth time to explain this bill. This is ARPA general bill accompanying an appropriation that Senator Polk has been working on. This portion is the American Rescue Plan Act, Workforce Development and Retention Act. As you recall, when I discussed this before, this will allow $40 million to go towards the Office of Workforce Development for specific training programs, including nurses and other high demand fields that we've seen coming out of the COVID crisis. And it also has a provision in there for primary health care infrastructure program that will go to doctors of medicine who are being trained to provide primary care. Again, we've seen this a few times. The total amount that I expect in House Bill 1517, which is the accompanying appropriation bill for this, is going to be $60 million. And I want to thank, first and foremost, Senator Polk for his work on this. It's been a long process this year, and be willing to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing no questions,
My motion would be adoption of the conference report on use of morning roll call.
Senator moves adoption of the conference report for the use of morning roll call. Does anyone object to this procedure? Does anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present with the use of morning roll call as voting aye. The conference report is adopted. Senator Parker.
Mr. President, this does complete the work, economic and workforce development. I want to thank the members of the committee. This is one of those committees where a lot of the work we work on behind the scenes. I was happy to get Inflex to the finish line this year. I want to thank Ian. I gave Ian April Fool's joke this morning. I dropped him a little letter off and said we had 9 bills we had to change, and had to get it out before we started, and he called me in a panic, and I believe the staff down there had a lot of fun with that. But in seriousness, he has been a huge help. Lieutenant Governor's staff, particularly Leah, has been a great help to us. I mentioned Senator Polk earlier and Senator Hobson as we move through the appropriation process. But thank you, and I am glad that this is indeed my last bill of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Good job. Senator Barr, you wish to be, I'm sorry. Senator Fillingham.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 135, call it up and have the title read.
135. Okay, Senator Barr was actually ahead of you, but he acted like, okay, so we'll go to item 135. Senator Fillingham.
And have the title read, please.
Please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2246, search warrants, authorized issuance for sex offenses against children upon oral testimony.
Senator Fillingham.
Thank you, Mr. President. The motion is going to be that we do adopt the conference report, and I'll be happy to explain it.
You're recognized to explain.
Thank you. So this is the conference report dealing with the issuance of search warrants in relation to computer crimes investigations for sex offenses against children involving a computer, and this comes at the request of the Attorney General. We've explained it a few times. There was the only change made to it was the removal of some language for the City of Oxford from a day or two ago. That is no longer in this bill, and that is what it does. I move adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Okay, are there any questions? Seeing no questions, Senator Fillingham moves that we adopt the conference report by use of morning roll call. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present with use of morning roll call as voting aye on the conference report, and it is adopted. All right, now we go to Senator Wiggins. Senator Wiggins will pass and retain. We'll go to item, let's see, 137. Okay, you recognize Senator Barr.
Thank you, Mr. President. Call up item 137, have the title read.
Please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2422, teacher procurement cards, revised deadlines to ensure teachers receive no later than September 1st of each year.
Senator Barr.
Thank you, Mr. President. Be asked to allow to explain the conference report.
You're recognized.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conference report for Senate Bill 2422, which is the teacher procurement cards. It's a report that was filed this morning. It was on the suspension resolution. This is the same bill we passed earlier in the session, except for 3 changes. Instead of the cards being available September 1st, they'll now be available August 1st. We now include the gifted and special education teachers, and it is effective upon passage. DFA had requested this change. That way they can get the cards out there, start working on them now, get them to the teachers before this fall, by August 1st. That's the explanation of the report, Mr. President. I'll yield for any questions. If there are none, I'll move for passage by use of the morning roll call.
Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, Senator moves adoption of the conference report by use of morning roll call. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present with the use of morning roll call. As voting aye, the conference report is adopted. Senator DeVar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Go to item 138 and have the title read.
Please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2430, state aid for construction of school facilities, bring forward sections relating to.
Senator DeVar.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I be allowed to explain the conference report?
You're recognized to explain.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the Public School Building Fund. We're making some major changes to it this year. I know it was a question asked early in the session by Senator Bryan about this fund. So what we're doing with the fund now is we're creating a new fund. It's called the Educational Facilities Revolving Loan Fund. What we're doing is we are going to take the $20 million from EEF that goes in this fund, the old Public School Building Fund. We're going to transfer that money, the $20 million, into this new fund. We're going to repeal the diversion after 1 year because they'll have $20 million. We're also going to put any money that's in this fund currently, this old fund, into the new fund. That could be anywhere from $0 to $5 million. And we're also going to add, in this year's appropriations bill, another $20 million of EEF, which will bring the total to a minimum of $40 million. School districts will be able to access this fund. They'll be access to 0% interest loan, and they'll be able to access up to $1 million to pay for any expenses incurred for repairs and renovations for existing school buildings, to construct any new pre-kindergarten, pre-K facilities, or CTE facilities. And this will be allowed to, for these school districts, up to $1 million. We will also, this bill also, report also adds language in there for any district that's done these things within the last 5 years. They can access this fund for up to $500,000 to basically refinance their existing loans so that they can take advantage of it and won't be punished for that. That is in section 1. This loan must be repaid within 10 years. It's, like I said, 0 interest. If they don't make the loan repayments, the department can take any actions up to including clawing back any MAEP monies as a last resort. The loans cannot be used for any athletic facilities whatsoever. And the first priority and needs will be for emergency or critical needs, critical infrastructures. Section 2 is the language of the report, is the diversion language which diverts the monies from EEF to the new fund. Like I said, this repeals after July 1st of next year. And then the section 3, like I said, transfers any money of the old fund into the new fund. We put a 1-year repealer on this old fund just to make sure, and really even the new revolving loan fund, just to make sure it's a new program. We expect this to be a very popular program, and so we want to revisit it next year to ensure that if there are any changes or any improvements we can make to it, any money we needed to add to it, that we can do that without having to wait 2 or 3 years, and that's why it has the 1-year repealer in it. And so this will replace the current public school building fund. It'll have a perpetual amount of about at least $40 million every year. That way districts can access this to fix the programs and fix the needs that they may have. That's an explanation of the report, Mr. President. I'll yield for any questions.
Okay, Senator Jordan, do you have a question? You have a question, Senator?
Yes, sir. I would like to be, unanimous consent to be added co-author of Senate Bill 2430.
With no objection, with no objection be added, as well as Senator McMahon and...
Mr. President, I think if we could adopt the conference report before we...
that's fine. Name the
before
one.
we add co-authors.
That's fine.
And that's my motion if there are no questions.
Senator moves adoption of the conference report be used morning roll call. We'll come back for co-authors if it... Oh, questions? I'm sorry. Oh, we do have more questions. Senator Hill. I thought you...
I do have a question.
You yield Senator Hill for a question.
I do.
What are the criteria going to be to determine how a school district would draw down these funds?
The They have to be used for R&R, they have to be construction for new facilities, or for pre-kindergarten, or to expand those facilities. It's for construction of new career and career CTE facilities or repairs to those as well as any emergency or critical infrastructure that.
Okay, my concern is if there's going to be $40 million in there, that's going to go mighty fast. So how are we going to do a lottery, or what are we going to do? Because I mean, it's like, it's going to be impossible probably to vet some of the requests without causing a lot of, bad feelings. I'm just thinking of how we can sort this money out fairly.
Well, it's going to be first come, first serve. That's why we have a one-year repealer in it. But don't forget, they've also got some of their ARPA money that has come down as well. And so they can be used in conjunction with that potentially. And so that's why.
So is there going to be something to say that, like, one person can't get it twice in a row if somebody else hadn't got it and they meet the criteria or whatever like that?
Each district, they can only get up to $1 million per project per district for this first year. And then.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that they're not coming back saying, so-and-so got something and I didn't, because that always happens, and it's very hard to explain that.
I understand.
Thank you.
Okay, Senator Horn, you have a question?
Question.
You yield, Senator Horn, for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator DeBar, I just want to make sure I understand what's going on here. We're going to award $20 million in ARPA funds.
No.
These are all capital appropriated dollars, general fund dollars?
It's going to be EEF funds this year.
So we're taking EEF funds and putting them in the fund. There may be some existing funds out of EEF, they're going into the fund. And then we're putting another $20 million from EEF?
Correct. There's currently in the old fund, the public school building fund, that $20 million is being diverted to MAEP. So that's the first thing.
So that's an existing $20 million.
Right, and so what we're going to do, instead of diverting that money to MAEP, we're going to divert it to this new fund.
Right.
We're going to replace the money that was going to MAEP with another $20 million, so the MAEP won't get cut. And then, on top of that, we're going to add another $20 million of EEF to make the revolving fund, the new fund, at least have a total balance of at least $40 million.
So all of these are EEF funds?
Correct.
Okay, and they're at 0% interest, up to $1 million with a 10-year payback?
Correct.
All right, and you addressed with Senator Hill, one of my questions, first come, first served, not based on any prioritized need. If there's an emergency, that doesn't leapfrog over? It
does. If you look in the, let me find it. Emergencies, because if you look on paragraph F, section line 111, applicants demonstrating emergency or other critical infrastructure needs shall receive first priority in receiving loans.
Okay, and
this is, I don't know if you have the new conference report that was just filed this morning.
No, I do not.
Okay. But that's what it says on line 111 of the new report.
Yeah, it's on the screen.
Okay.
So a lot of these school districts are currently using ESSER funds, ESSER 1, ESSER 2, and maybe there's some of their ARPA funds. So do they have to exhaust their ESSER and ARPA funds before they're eligible for this?
There is no prohibition of that in this bill. Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. President.
Horn.
Thank you, Senator Horn. Senator Sparks, you have a question?
A question, Mr. President.
You yield, Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your work on this bill.
This has nothing but electric vehicles in it whatsoever.
You read my mind.
Just want to clear that up right now.
Thank you. The EEF monies that we are talking about, that was a creation of a 1-cent sales tax increase back in the early 90s. Is that the EEF we're talking about?
Yeah, that's a diversion. Roughly $1.66 million per month goes into the old fund, yes.
And this is for what we would call K through 12. You've mentioned pre-K. or did I understand that?
That's correct.
So it's actually pre-K through 12
Correct.
building, okay. But that 1 cent diversion, or the 1 cent sales tax that creates this EEF, there is a diversion out of that that was for community colleges and junior colleges at its inception. But that's not going to be included in this particular bill.
No, this only affects the diversion to the public school building fund.
Okay.
Does not affect community and junior colleges.
Okay, and this is something that is a 0% interest. It's almost set up like an annuity. If we can put money in here in perpetuity, these schools can come when they have an emergency need and potentially be able to.
An emergency or non-emergency.
Okay.
It's a perpetual fund. That way it's available because they're supposed to repay these loans, so the money's going to stay in this fund. And so they'll be accessed by districts, you know.
And
whereas now with the fund money's being diverted to MAP.
Thank you.
And no one has access to it.
Okay, so this is helping us to be able to do the purpose of the name of the
This
fund.
is one of the things that school districts have requested over the last year when I was making my trips around the state. This is definitely one of the things they've asked for.
And there's a $1 million cap per fiscal year, as I understand it in the bill.
Correct.
Is there a total cap of monies over the years? I know there's a repealer in it, so we may be looking at it anyway, but right now the only cap is $1 million per fiscal year.
Per year, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And that may change next year. That's why it's a one-year repealer. If we need to raise the cap or put more money or make modifications to it, especially with inflation being as high as it is, that's why we'll revisit next year and make sure there's.
And I appreciate that, and I think it's a wonderful bill. I do want to make sure I understand a little better, you know, the portion of monies from the EEF that go to community colleges, because it might be something that we could replicate for community colleges similar to this program, but I really do appreciate your work.
I know community and junior colleges, they get bonds every year and so forth, so it may not be as applicable to them, but that's outside my lane at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sir.
Okay, seeing no further questions, Senator, you've moved adoption by use of morning roll
move
call.
for adoption by use of morning roll call.
Senator requests use of morning roll call or adoption of morning roll call to this procedure. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present with the use of morning roll call as voting aye. Now, there were several that wanted to be a co-author on that. If you would, again, if you'd just be so kind as to circle your calendar rather than calling a lot of names and bring it up front, you'll be listed as a co-author. Okay. 139 will pass and retain. Go to Senator Bryan.
I ask that the title be read.
Please read the title.
Senate nomination number 112, James Patrick Pat Cheney, MD, Amory, Mississippi State Board of Health as a licensed physician, 6-year term effective July 2nd, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2027.
Senator Bryan.
I move we do advise and consent. Dr. Cheney had the unanimous support of the Public Health Committee. I believe he's well qualified to serve on the board.
Senator moves that we do advise consent by the use of morning roll call. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by use of morning roll call as voting aye. Item 141, Senator Bryan.
I ask that the title be read.
Please read the title.
Senate nomination number 75, Leanne Harper Griffin, pharmacy doctor, Jackson, Mississippi State Board of Health as an individual with an interest in public health, unexpired 6-year term effective August 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2027.
Senator Bryan.
I move we do advise and consent. Dr. Harper, who's a PharmD, had the overwhelming, although not unanimous, support of the committee. There's some concern because she is employed by Pfizer. It's my position that we have an 11-member board, and one of the reasons we have an 11-member board is to have a number of different perspectives on the board. The board is full of people whose interest and background would be contrary to matters which might involve Pfizer or any other drug company. So I personally have no concern about that in the sense that I certainly don't believe that's a disqualifying condition. I also believe that she's a very well qualified individual. She has a variety of jobs that she's had in the past, and I think she'll be a good addition to the board. I suggest use of the morning roll call.
Seeing any questions? Seeing none, Senator moves that we do advise consent by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Okay, we have a couple. Senator McClendon, Senator Tate, Senator Barrett, Senator DeBar. Anyone else? Senator Hill is present. Senator Whaley as no. No. Senator Moran, no. Senator McMahon. Senator McMahon's voting present. Senator Parker, present. Senator Sojourner, no. Senator Chisholm, no. Senator McDaniel, no. I can't see who that is for the glare. Senator Sparks. Okay. Senator Sparks, I couldn't see for the glare, is voting no. No, present. Okay, Senator Barr is present. Senator Branning, present. Anyone else? Senator Jackson?
To the vote, Mr. President. I'd like to announce a pair.
You're recognized for a pair.
If Senator Parks was here, she'd vote no, I vote aye.
Please record the pair. Thank you. Please read off the noes and presents, please.
Voting no. Oh, Clinton. Who is this?
Before you read, we have one more. To the vote, Senator Simmons.
To the vote, Mr. President.
You're recognized for the vote.
I'd like to announce a pair.
You're recognized for a pair.
If Senator Mike Thompson was here, he'll vote no, I vote aye.
Please record the pair. Anyone else before we start reading them off? Okay. Now.
Voting no, McClendon, Tate, Barrett, DeBar, Whaley, Moran, Sojourner, Chisholm, McDaniel. Voting present, Hill, McMahon, Parker, Sparks, Branning, Suber. And pairs, Jackson, aye. Parker, Parks, no. Simmons, aye. Thompson, no.
Okay, with a vote of 9 noes and 6 present, the conference report's adopted. Senator Bryan.
Go to item 142 and ask the title be read.
Please read the title.
Senate nomination number 43, Dr. Sarah Jane H. Gleason, Jackson, Mississippi, Board of Mental Health, 7-year term effective November 29, 2021, and ending June 30, 2028, representing the licensed medical doctor psychiatrist.
Senator Bryan.
I move we do advise and consent. Dr. Gleason had the unanimous support of the Public Health Committee. I suggest use of the morning roll call.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, the Senator moves we do adopt by use, that we do advise and consent by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by use of the morning roll call as voting aye. Or do advise and consent. The conference report's adopted. Senator Bryan.
I ask that the title be read.
Please read the title.
Senate nomination number 45, Teresa Ann Mosley, Clinton, Mississippi Board of Mental Health, 7-year term effective November 29, 2021, and ending June 30, 2027, representing the 4th Congressional District.
Senator Bryan.
Ms. Mosley had the unanimous support of the Public Health Committee. I move we do advise and consent.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, the motion is to advise and consent. Senator moves that we adopt by the use of morning roll call. Anyone object to that procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by the use of morning roll call as voting aye. It's adopted. Senator Bryan.
Mr. President, I'm going to move that we take up item 144 through 150. Will be the next 6 items in a block. If anyone wants me to, I'll amend my motion.
Senator moves we take up items 144 through 150 in block. Anyone object? All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator Bryan.
Mr. President, I know of no objection to any of these nominees. They were all reported by the Senate Public Health Committee unanimously.
Senator Bryan, if we may, let's read the titles first, if I may. Thank you. Please read the titles.
Dr. Jamie, Senate nomination number 2, Dr. Jamie Lee Williams, LFT, Ocean Springs, Mississippi, Mississippi State Board of Examiners for Social Workers and Marriage and Family Therapists, remainder of a 4-year term ending June 30, 2023. Senate nomination number 47, James Taylor Williams, Jr., Poplarville, Mississippi, Mississippi State Board of Nursing Home Administrators as a hospital administrator, unexpired 4-year term effective July 19, 2021, and ending June 30, 2024. Senate nomination number 55, Leonard Cooper Lewis, PT, DPT, Sardis, Mississippi, Mississippi State Board of Physical Therapy as a physical therapist representing the 2nd Congressional District, 4-year term effective September 23, 2021, and ending June 30, 2025. Senate nomination number 56, Billy Chrysler Chris Byrne, PT, DPT, MHS, Florida, Mississippi, Mississippi State Board of Physical Therapy as a physical therapist representing the 3rd Congressional District, 4-year term effective immediately and ending June 30, 2024. Senate nomination number 63, Valerie Casil Joyner, DWS LCSW, D'Iberville, Mississippi, Board of Examiners for Social Workers and Marriage and Family Therapists as a licensed social worker, unexpired 4-year term effective May 3, 2021, and ending June 30, 2024. Senate nomination number 64, Eric Poole Pittman, LSW, Brandon, Mississippi, Board of Examiners for Social Workers and Marriage and Family Therapists as a licensed social worker, unexpired 4-year term effective May 3, 2021, and ending June 30, 2024. Senate nomination number 65, Pamela Gale Pam Rollins, PhD, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Board of Examiners for Social Workers and Marriage and Family Therapists as a licensed marriage and family therapist, unexpired 4-year term effective May 3, 2021, and ending June 30, 2024.
Senator Bryan.
I move we do advise and consent and suggest use of the morning roll call.
Senator Bryan moves that we do advise and consent by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by the use of morning roll call as voting aye. The conference reports have, I'm sorry, not conference, but the nominations have passed. Senator Bryan.
I ask the title be read.
Please read the title.
Senate nomination number 116, Alicia Ann Drury Tice, Wiggins, Mississippi, Mississippi State Board of Nursing Home Administrators as the nursing home administrator. 4-year term beginning June 6, 2021 and ending June 5, 2025, representing the 2nd Supreme Court District.
Senator Bryan.
Ms. Tice was supported unanimously by the committee. I suggest use of the morning roll call.
Are there any questions? Senator Bryan moves that we pass by the use of, or adopt by the use, or pass, I'm sorry, by adoption of the use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to this procedure? Does anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by the use of morning roll call as voting aye. Senator Bryan,
I ask that the title be read.
please read the title.
Senate nomination number 35, Elizabeth Waldson, Beth Edmondson, PT, Ocean Springs, Mississippi State Board of Health, that is an individual with an interest in public health, unexpired 6-year term effective July 2nd, 2021, and ending June 30th, 2023. Vice, Mr. Edward Langton.
Senator Bryan,
I move we do advise and consent. I know the Public Health Committee unanimously moved that we do advise and consent on Ms. Edmondson's nomination. I suggest use of the morning roll call.
Senator moves that we do advise and consent by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present with the use of the morning roll call as voting aye. This passed. Senator Bryan,
I ask that the title be read.
please read the title.
Senate nomination number 37, Thad Fulton Waits, MD, MACC, Hattiesburg, Mississippi State Board of Health as a licensed physician. 6-year term effective July 2nd, 2021, and ending June 30th, 2027.
Senator Bryan,
I move we do advise and consent. Dr. Waits has the unanimous support of the Public Health Committee, and I suggest use of the morning roll call.
Senator Bryan moves that we do advise and consent by use of the morning roll call. Does anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by the use of the morning roll call as voting aye. This is passed. Senator Bryan,
I ask that the title be read.
please read the title.
Senate nomination number 44, Robert Sylvester Landrum, Ellisville, Mississippi, Board of Mental Health, 7-year term effective November 29, 2021, and ending June 30, 2028, representing the 5th Congressional District.
Senator Bryan,
I move we do advise and consent. Mr. Landrum is now serving on the board. He has the support of the Public Health Committee. I suggest use of the morning roll call.
Senator moves that we do advise and consent by the use of the morning roll call. Does anyone object to this procedure? Does anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by the use of the morning roll call as voting aye. And it's passed. Senator Bryan,
I ask that the title be read.
please read the title.
Senate nomination number 52, Nancy Carol Norris Johnson, LPN, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Mississippi Board of Nursing as a licensed practical nurse, 4-year term beginning July 1st, 2021, and ending June 30th, 2025.
Senator Bryan,
I move we do advise and consent. Ms. Johnson is on the board, and she had no opposition in the committee. I suggest use of the morning roll call.
Senator Bryan moves that we do advise and consent by use of the morning roll call. Does anyone object to this procedure? Does anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by the use of the morning roll call as voting aye. That's passed. Senator Bryan,
I ask that the title be read.
please read the title.
Senate nomination number 48, Janie Clanton, RN, Meadville, Mississippi, Mississippi Board of Nursing as a registered nurse in clinical practice, unexpired 4-year term effective May 19, 2021, and ending June 30th, 2022. Vice, Blake Ward.
Senator Bryan,
I move we do advise and consent. Ms. Clanton has the unanimous support of the Public Health Committee. I suggest use of the morning roll call.
Senator Bryan moves that we do advise and consent by use of the morning roll call. Does anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by the use of the morning roll call as voting aye. That's passed.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir. You're recognized.
if I may, I would just like to say that I personally, and I think all of us, appreciate the willingness of the individuals, not merely of the nominations I've just handled, but a number of others that we have handled and will handle, to serve on these boards. You think of the Board of Health by way of example. You've got doctors, nurses, people who certainly have other things to do. It's a sacrifice for them to serve on that board. It's true for many of the other individuals on many other boards. And I sometimes think we fail to stop and take a moment to appreciate the public service these individuals are lending. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Bryan. Senator Fillingham.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to suspend the rules to take up items 157, 158, and 159 in block.
157, 158, and 59 in block. Anyone object to this procedure? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator Fillingham taking 157, 8, and 9 in block.
I'd like to have the titles read.
Please read the titles.
House Bill number 1730, suffrage restored to Ray Farrell, Harrison County. House Bill number 1731, suffrage restored to Deborah Ledbetter of Hinds County. House Bill number 1732, suffrage restored to Annie Mae Grant of Hinds County.
I make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator Fillingham.
Thank you. I'll explain these three briefly, Mr. President. As you know, in Mississippi, we have a process whereby if you've lost your right to vote, you can file a bill called a suffrage bill and get that right restored with the consent of 2/3 votes of the legislature. There are actually 23 crimes that are disenfranchising, and that's a little misunderstood in the state because not every crime is a disenfranchising crime. There are actually in the state constitution 23 crimes designated which are in fact disenfranchising, meaning you lose your right to vote upon conviction of these. Now, these three that we have before us have been vetted by the committee. All three of those persons had their House member file a bill to restore their suffrage rights, and I'll briefly go through each one of these to kind of tell you a little bit about what this person did to lose their right to vote and a little bit about their history since then. So House Bill 1730 is a gentleman named Mr. Ray Farrell of Harrison County. He was disqualified as an elector as a result of the conviction of the crime of burglary on July the 16th of 1985. Now, this burglary was not of a dwelling. This burglary was of a pickup truck in someone's backyard. So that is the crime. When you hear burglary, sometimes we think of, holding people up in their homes, that sort of thing. I don't think that would be before us if that were the case, but in this case, it is a pickup truck that was unoccupied in someone's backyard. This again occurred back in July of 1985. The gentleman was sentenced to serve 3 years probation, which he did. He completed all the terms and conditions of his sentence and was discharged on May the 20th of 1987 from his probation requirements. So he hasn't had any additional offenses since that time. House Bill 1731 is a lady named Miss Deborah Ledbetter of Hinds County. She was convicted of the crime of forgery for credit cards in 1996 and in 2001. On these next two, I did want to say also that we checked to make sure all restitution had been repaid, which it has been. So not only have they served their time, but if required by the law to pay restitution to the victims, they have done so. And we checked to make sure that was handled, and it was. This person was sentenced to serve 1 year in the custody of the Department of Corrections. She completed all the terms and conditions of her sentence and was discharged on June the 22nd of 2001. And Representative Summers from Hinds County filed that and showed up at the hearing to speak on behalf of this individual. And then finally, House Bill 1732 was a bill filed by Representative Summers also in Hinds County to restore the suffrage of Miss Annie Mae Grant. She also was convicted back in 1994 of the crime of forgery in Hinds County and was discharged in October of 1996. And since that time has conducted herself as a law-abiding and honorable citizen in a good and lawful manner. So these are the three suffrage bills before you, and I'm happy to answer any questions. If there are no questions, I'll move adoption by use of the morning roll call of all three of these bills.
Okay. Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, the Senator moves that use of the morning roll call for final passage. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing that Senator Hill as voting no. Present. Senator Hill is present. Senator McMahon as present. Present, okay. And Senator Sojourner. I said McClendon. I'm sorry, I just said President McClendon. Chisholm and also Sojourner present. And Chisholm is no. And Senator McDaniel as present. Senator Whaley as no. Senator Seymour as present. He says present. All right, seeing no others, please. I'm sorry. There's a little mix-up. Senator McMahon, you voted present, and Senator McClendon voted present. Okay, both. Just, I'll tell you what, just to make sure, let's read, if you would, please read off the present and the note.
This is present. Voting no, Hill, Chisholm, Whaley. Voting present, McClendon, Sojourner, McDaniel, Seymour, and McMahon.
Okay, all right. One, 3 noes and 5 present. The bill is passed. Okay, Senator Barnett.
Thank you, Mr. President. I asked for suspension of the rules and take up items 160 and 161 on today's calendar in block.
116?
You wish to take those up in block, Senator? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, anyone object to this procedure? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator Barnett.
Thank you, Mr. President. I asked that we have title read.
Please read the title.
Senate nomination number 103, Anthony Conrad, Montgomery, Biloxi, Mississippi Prison Industries Board, representing the banking and finance position, unexpired balance of the 4-year term effective September 8, 2021, and ending May 5, 2022. Senate nomination number 104, Anthony Conrad, Montgomery, Biloxi, Mississippi Prison Industries Board, representing the banking and finance position, 4-year term effective May 6, 2022, and ending May 5, 2026.
Thank you, Mr. President. Asked to
You're
explain.
recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. There was a communications error with Mr. Montgomery. We fixed that problem. The whole corrections committee did that we agreed to, that we advise and consent on this. There was no derogatory information in regards to Mr. Montgomery. Everything was satisfactory. So I am asking that we do advise and consent on the morning roll call.
Okay, Senator, I think we may have a couple of questions. Senator McMahon, did you have a question?
I'd like to speak on the motion.
You recognize to speak.
I appreciated Senator Barnett's comments the other day here at the well, and I want to be sure that we have members that are serving on these boards. So I took the liberty to call a couple of the board members, and I wanted to assure this body that Mr. Montgomery is attending the board meetings and he is contributing to the conversation and performing his duties, and I do support the motion.
Okay, next, Senator Norwood, you have a question? Accidental punch of a button, okay. And I think that's it. So, no other questions. Senator moves that we do advise and consent by use of the morning roll call. Is that correct? Oh, I'm sorry, didn't see you. I didn't see it lit up. Okay, Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. President, for a question.
You yield? You don't yield. He yields.
Mr. Chairman, as I understand it, you reached out and had already had communication with this individual, correct?
Yes.
When we took this back up yesterday, you did your due diligence. You already had a peer report that was clear, correct?
Correct.
And then you took it upon yourself as the chairman of that committee to have personal contact with this individual before we had our additional meeting where there was confirmation, correct?
Correct.
Thank you for your due diligence.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other question, Senator moves that we do advise and consent by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to this procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, please record all present by use of the morning roll call as voting aye.
Thank you,
We
Mr.
do
President.
advise and consent on items 160 and 161. Now, I think we'll have announcements at this time. I'll tell you that we're going to stand recess, subject to call later, I believe. So, Senator Bryan?
I ask for immediate release of the public health and welfare confirmations.
Immediate release. Anyone object? All in favor say aye. All opposed no. The ayes have it. Senator, have immediate release on the public health. All right, now, announcements. Anyone? Seeing no announcements, then Senator Polk.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand in recess, subject to call of the chair.
Stand in recess, subject to call of the chair. What? Oh, you did have an announcement? I'm sorry. I didn't see you.
I do, thank you. My apologies, Mr. President. Just wanted to report that the conference reports, we're hoping to get those finished up this weekend, have them available for conferees at 9:30. It's my understanding that we will be coming in at 10, I believe, Mr. President, on Monday morning. If that is the case, then we will have conference reports about 30 minutes beforehand for you to sign. As usual, Senate conference reports to review and sign 216, House originated reports in 201, and hopefully we can start taking all those up on Monday. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Senator Polk had moved that we stand in recess subject to call. Correct, Senator? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed no. Ayes have it. Stand in recess subject to call.
I'd like to call the Senate into session. Senator Polk is recognized. We have one, Senator Kirby is recognized for one quick meeting. Senator Kirby, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call a quick Rules Committee meeting in front of the chamber at this time.
Okay, and then we will, Senator Polk will be about 10 minutes, I think. Senator Polk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the Senate stand in recess, except to call the chair.
All in favor, aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. like to call the Senate session. Senator Butler, for what purpose, sir? Light was on. Senator Barrett, for what purpose, sir? Light was on incorrectly.
Yes, sir. I think someone played an April Fool's joke on me.
All right. That would have been funny about a week ago. All right. Senator Kirby, you're recognized. Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we suspend the rules and call up House Concurrent Resolution 90, and I yield to Senator Hobson to explain.
Senator Hobson, you're recognized. Motion is to suspend the rules. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Senator Hobson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Ayes have it.
This is the resolution. Most of you are aware of this, but it's extending the session on paper again till April the 10th. It became pretty obvious there was no way to get all the bills through the negotiations, to get all the bills drafted, and our staff is working on those feverishly to get it ready. But I think the consensus has been most people want to get out of here. You're tired of looking at each other and you want to go home and see your families for the weekend. So what we'll do is extend the session from April 6th to the 10th. So instead of just adding 2 days, we're adding the weekend in there as well. So we will, if you adopt this resolution, that would make April 5th being the last day to get your finance and approach off the calendar, and then everything else is extended to the 10th. I'll yield for questions if there are any.
Questions? Seeing none, Senator, ready for your
Move
motion.
adoption of the House concurrent resolution.
By use of the morning roll call?
By use of the roll call, thank you.
Anyone object to the procedure? Vote is voting no. Present? Seeing none. Senator Kirby, last one.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to suspend the rules and call up House Concurrent Resolution number 605 and yield to Senator Michelle to explain.
Senator Michelle, you're recognized. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Senate Concurrent Resolution.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator Michelle, you're recognized.
Thank you. Senate Current Resolution 605 adopts a suspension resolution for the further consideration of House Bill 451, which deals with the non-admitted insurance policy fee. Be glad to yield. Any questions?
Any questions? Seeing none.
Move adoption of suspension resolution by use of the morning roll
Use
call.
of the morning roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no. Present. Senator, now we're going to announcements. Senator McCon? Vote no, one no on that one, please, Mr. Clerk. Senator Hill. Senator McCon? Lights off. Senator Bryan?
A public health meeting, which was scheduled for 3, will be immediately upon recess. If members of the committee could just please come down to 216 immediately upon recess, and we can discuss our schedule. We have several options.
Thank you, Senator Bryan. Senator Moran, for what purpose announcement?
German memory of, please.
Please proceed.
Today when we adjourn, I ask that we, on behalf of myself, Senator Carter, and Senator Delano, we adjourn in memory of Ms. Debbie Belk, a longtime employee of DMR, who had already started the proceedings to retire and went home yesterday, went to bed, and passed away in her sleep.
Thank you, Senator Moran. Okay, any other announcements? Any other announcements? Senator Kirby requests immediate release. Senator Kirby requests immediate release, sir. I'm sorry, Senator Kirby.
On 90 and 605,
Thank
ask
you.
for immediate release. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no objection is granted. Senator Polk, do you have an announcement?
Thank you, Mr. President. No announcement.
Okay, would you proceed, please? Senator Polk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to have the Senate stand in recess until the last conference report, committee reports are filed tonight, at which time the journal will reflect that we're adjourned until 10 a.m. Monday.
10 a.m. Monday. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please be careful on the way home, everyone. We'll see you Monday.